It is time to get out of your own way. Creating a healthy morning routine with habits that truly set you up for success is so important. Eat a book. Eat a book. Yep, I'll eat a book. There we go. I'll read my book after I'm done. Hello guys, I am almost ready and then we will begin. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Do That Dang Thing podcast. I'm your host Rachel Fleeman, owner of Rain Company. Today, I need to flip to the page what we're talking about today, but we are going to be talking about how to show up as the best version of yourself. Specifically talking about self-discipline and how self-discipline is actually self-love and ways to practice self-discipline and get through it, because it is hard to realize what you need to be doing and knowing you need to do it and then actually doing it. So that is what we're going to be talking about. But I did want to remind you guys, first of all, hello, welcome to the show. I feel like I say that a million times every single episode. We have a new every single week we have a new backdrop, which actually the first one I wasn't able to actually upload, but we have a new backdrop. It's just, this is my store, this is what it is. I don't have an actual backdrop out right now because we're running short on time, but I do have 3 lights, so it's very lit and I'm really excited with the way that the lighting seems to be turning out, so yay for that. I also have a new cover on the mic, so I'm hoping the quality is extra good for you guys who are audio listeners, so yay, very excited. Before we get into it, I do want to remind you guys to follow on whatever platform you're listening to. We empower each other to chase each other's dreams. We're a fun little community on here, and I have lots planned for this year, so feel free to follow or subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review if you enjoy this episode. I'm trying to boost up the reviews. I love that you guys are enjoying this show because I love recording it for you guys. Quick little live chat before we dive into it. Not much has been happening, I guess, in life. I just feel very like I'm in this phase of something's gonna happen. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that I'm like prepping for. We have a trip planned again, so I'm really excited to go on that trip to Texas. So excited for that. But yeah, there's a lot kind of going on behind the scenes that I'm really just excited for. So I had like Rain's account and the podcast account, and then I have my main social media account. I'm not a huge fan of my main social media account, if I'm being honest. I just get bad like vibes from it. I don't know what it is, but there was a lot of content that I like filmed throughout my day because I like to record as like little memories and stuff to look back on. And there was a lot that I would like film and then I'd be like, well, I want to post this, but I don't want to post it on my actual main. So I turned one of my older accounts that was called Making of Rain Co., which was like a behind the scenes account. I turned that into my new main account. So if you want to follow me over on there, feel free. It's just called Diary of Rach. And I show behind the scenes of the business, of the podcast, just my personal life more or less, and all that jazz. So if you want to follow me over on there. But yeah, there's just a lot that I can't really talk about yet that I've been working on that I'm really excited for, and the weather's finally becoming nice. Today is very dark and cloudy and it's supposed to snow, but this is supposed to be the last like bad weather day we are supposed to have for a long time. I know the next week at least it's like 50-60 degrees, which makes me so happy because I'm so ready for spring. But yeah, yesterday, oh my gosh, my sister and I went thrifting this weekend, and I usually never find things when we go thrifting, but I found so many good things, so many little treasures. I got quite a few pieces of clothing, and then I got a painting of like a lighthouse. It was hand painted, so pretty. I'm gonna post a whole YouTube video about all of our finds and kind of we filmed throughout our day. But we found a lot of fun things. I found a really pretty book that's gonna be such a cute coffee table book, and some other fun books. And then yesterday there was this painting while we were thrifting, and it was the most beautiful thing ever. It caught my eye from across the store like right away, and I sprinted to the back and then I looked at it and it was $60. I'm like, $60 for Goodwill? Are you joking? So I didn't get it. But the whole day, in the next 3 days, I could not stop thinking about it. It was like something in my gut was like, go get the painting, go get the painting. And I listened to my gut. I'm a very big gut follower. And I was like, okay, if they have it, I'll go get it. And I went back on Tuesday morning, yesterday before I came into work. Lo and behold, they had it. But there were 17 cars waiting to go inside Goodwill. I was like, oh my gosh, I did not know Goodwill was this busy on a Tuesday morning right when they open, but I think it's like resellers and stuff, which they were all super sweet. So it was a fun experience, but I finally got it and I hung it up last night and it looks so good. It's so big. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll insert a little picture or video of it. It is so pretty, and I got it for when I move into an apartment. That way I have like, I've been slowly collecting really pretty fun pieces that I know I'm gonna want. That way I'm like starting the prep and I don't have to pay for everything at once, and it's just a saving money thing. But also I want to be more mindful of my purchases. Is something I've been doing a lot lately, which actually we'll get into this in this episode, but I've been more mindful of my purchases, especially bigger purchases. And so like, yeah, it was $60, but when you go to like Goodwill and Target, I feel like all their art is $70. We went to TJ Maxx the other day. There was like one of those plaster art things that people have been DIYing, $70. $70, and it had a cheap frame. I was like, oh my gosh, no thank you. So I got it. It's beautiful. I'm gonna shut up about my painting. It's just the most beautiful thing ever, and I'm so excited I got it. But we are gonna dive into this week's episode, which is becoming the best version of you. How to practice self-discipline to truly get you to the place you want to be in. Because I know we all have this big picture of the person we want to be, and self-discipline is a huge, huge, huge step in getting to become that person. So we are just gonna dive right into it. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, self-discipline is self-love. You have, I mean, when you think about it, there's like people are like, oh, it's just tough love if somebody's being truthful to you and all that. It's just tough love. But this is tough love to yourself. Like, you have to push yourself to do the things you don't want to do just because you don't want to do it out of laziness. You can't hold yourself back from that. So practicing self-discipline is self-love. Start changing your mindset within the self-discipline to, I have to do this. Instead of saying I have to do this thing, say I get to do this thing. I think a lot of us take advantage of what we have around us. Like, everything that we think we have to do, there are so many people who aren't able to do those things, so we get to do those things. Like something as simple as waking up in a peaceful house in the morning with your white noise on. I mean, this is just personal, from my personal perspective. I wake up in this comfy, warm bed in the morning. I have my white noise calming alarm clock. I use the Hatch alarm, but I have that calming thing. I got it for Christmas. I love it. And I woke up and I looked at my new painting and I was like, oh my gosh, but you know what? I get to do that. That is like something that I get to look forward to. And then I started doing my meditation right away in the morning. I have my phone automatically set to shut off like all my apps. Like there's like a limiting thing you can do on it, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but I have it to shut off so it doesn't go on. I can't go on my apps until 9 a.m. That way when I wake up at 7, I have 2 hours that I have to do stuff that I like is for me. It's for my self-care and everything. So I wake up so truly just practice changing that mindset and not I have to do this, I get to do this. Whether you're going to work out, I don't have to work out, I get to work out. Or I don't have to eat a good breakfast, I get to eat a good breakfast. And just start changing your mindset to that, because it'll make you not only a lot more grateful for the things you have, which puts you in a better mood. And I will not stop talking about this priming exercise that I've been doing lately. So stinking good. So good. I again skipped it one day just out of pure laziness. One day I decided to sleep in and I was rushed and I didn't do it. Usually I'll still do it because it's only 15 minutes, but I didn't do it. My whole day was thrown off. I actually had my friend really like, did you meditate today? I was like, no, I didn't. Can you tell? I'm all over the place. And so truly it's helped ground me in a way that I just love so much. But some mornings I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do it. But then I'm like, no, because you're going to feel so much better throughout your day if you do it. And so I have to do it in the morning. I've found out that's a non-negotiable. Sometimes I do it at night too, but have to do it in the morning. But yeah, so figuring out, changing your mindset to not I have to do it, but I get to do this. You get to do so many amazing things. Reminding yourself that throughout the day when you're doing things that you're like, oh, I don't want to do that, but you get to do it. It's a good thing. It is time to get out of your own way, honestly. It is like, step out of your own way. I feel like every time I travel, I have this big realization when I'm up in the plane all the way 10,000 feet, 30,000, whatever, however high we are in the air, and I'm out there looking out my window and I'm like, all I see is clouds. My favorite part is being inside the clouds, because you're like, oh my gosh, they look so small, but they're huge. They're humongous. And being in that kind of state of mind, in that place. I always get the window seat just because I love this feeling. But it reminds me, especially as we descend back to you know, landing or whatever, everything just starts to get bigger. And then you see like these big buildings. You're like, oh my gosh, that's usually huge. And they're so tiny. And then these little itty bitty cars. And then people, you don't even see them because they're so tiny. And so I start to like realize, I'm like, oh, like we are truly just little itty bitty specks floating on this giant rotating ball in space. And so it's time to get out of your own way. And another thing, I mean, this one's a harder realization, but when I lose people, like when I lost my grandma, I realized you don't know when your time is gonna come. It's so sudden for some of us. And so live every day. Like we're all gonna go in the same place. We're all gonna end up 6 feet under. I know that sounds a little like, sorry, it's a little hard, but also that's the truth of it. And so live for you. Stop living for these other people's opinions. This is your life. How do you want to live it? Like for example, have that main Instagram. Like I was saying, like I get bad vibes from my old one. And I started this new one, and I texted my friend Sophie, who you guys have known from the other podcast episode, and I told her, I was like, oh, I started this. She goes, I'm so happy that you finally started this, because she's been telling me to post like my normal, just everyday life outside of Rain for so long, and I finally just like, you know what, I want to do it. This is my little diary. These are to me. At the end of the day, if people want to follow along, great, but I'm not doing it for other people to follow. I'm doing it for me to look back on these memories, and to have them in one place. So start doing things for you. Stop waiting for the opinion of others, or stop waiting for the approval of others. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So you just have to learn how to get out of your own way, start going for your dreams, following your goals, whatever it is, do it and do it for you. Creating habits that you truly enjoy. And this will help with the self-discipline kind of thing and creating things that we don't like. So like I was talking about in last week's episode, how you have to swap out something. If you have something that you usually do, but you want to do something, for example, I think last week I used, instead of scrolling on your phone for an hour, meditate for 15 minutes, because you're going to feel a lot better meditating for that 15 minutes than you will scrolling on your phone for an hour. So swap them out. And that goes for creating some sort of healthy habits and healthy routines and creating things that you're excited to do. For example, the meditation, I used to be like, my moods were all over the place, and still, I mean, obviously I'm human, some days they are, but I have found since I've started doing that meditation, it is 15 minutes of purely me in my thoughts and where I want to be, in my breathing, in my gratitude for what I already have, reliving some happy moments in my life, and it truly sets my day off on such a different foot. And I feel like I'm constantly talking about this, but I like text my friends, like, do it, try it, just try it out, because it's so good. So I'm telling you guys, try it out. It is so good. I will leave the link in the description here on YouTube, and if I'm able to, I'll put it in the description on the audios as well, if I'm able to, in the show notes. But it's so good, and it's become something that I enjoy doing, because I know not only the thing in of itself, like sometimes I'll be in the middle of it, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired. I'm like, no, refocus. This is 15 minutes. Just focus on this. And I do it more so because I know this habit is going to help improve my days so much better. My day goes so much better when I do it. And so I do it because I know it's a healthy habit that I look forward to. I look forward to my days when I do it. But if I don't do it, then I'm like, ew, what is this day kind of thing. Especially on days like today, it is so cloudy and gloomy outside. I normally would be in such a bad mood because I hate these kinds of dark days. I love the like sunny, even if it's cold, as long as it's sunny, I'm fine. And so these kind of days I'm usually ugh. But it's just another day, and I kept reminding myself, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be nice the rest of the week, so just get through today. I'm like, no, we're not getting through today. I'm trying to really get out of that mindset of just getting through the day and instead living for the day, like living through the day. It's a gift. You're not guaranteed every single day. So the fact that you're guaranteed today is just like amazing. So live it, don't get through it. Eating habits you enjoy. So whether that's waking up in the morning and making a super delicious breakfast, prep it the night before so you're setting yourself up for success the next morning. Or whether that's you going on a morning walk. I usually do my morning walks every season except for winter because it's cold, too cold. But props to those people who do, because I see those people going on their runs and their walks, and I just could not. I tried this morning in the shower. There's like the ice baths and stuff, and I was like, oh, people say this is really good, and sometimes people are like, just take a cold shower. So I turned it on like the medium, but it was still freezing cold, and I was like, gosh, no, thank you, and I slammed the water off. So I'm still working on that. But creating healthy habits that you enjoy, or just habits that you enjoy that are gonna set you up for success in your future. Something I do when I'm thinking of these habits that I want to change is what would future me, or what would the highest version of myself be doing? And I remind myself this throughout my day, because there are some times where I will fall back into old habits. For example, when I used to like get new arrivals ready and stuff, I would have music obviously on in the shop, but sometimes I would like have a show while I'm steaming or something, because I'm like, otherwise I'm not doing anything. But I realized that slows me down so much. Obviously, like I'd come and help customers and stuff, but if I'm just in the back room and nobody's in the store and I'm steaming, I'm watching a show. And I'm like, no, because then I get soaked into the show and it slows me down on my steaming, which I stopped doing that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I get so much more done, because then I'm also distracted, because I'm like, oh, thinking of the show or thinking of that. So just get out of that. And I'm like, what would the highest version of myself do? The one who has these 3-month goals that I've set out for myself, or these 6-month or 12-month goals that I've set out for myself, what would she be doing? And I guarantee you it's not what I am doing in this moment. So start thinking of that, and I will remind myself throughout the day. So now we're gonna dive into some self-discipline examples, not ideas, but examples, I guess, so to speak, for you to think about if they apply to you and how they could apply to you. Number one, your morning routine. Your mornings set your day. They set your day. Whether you like it or not, your mornings are gonna set the mood for your day. I used to hate mornings. I used to despise them. But once I started Rain and started the store, I feel like really set me off. I started changing the way I viewed mornings. And so creating a healthy morning routine with habits that truly set you up for success is so important. Some things that I have started to do, and this took time. This wasn't like a one night I changed everything. Like we've talked about, you can't just change everything overnight. You have to work on the inner work. Otherwise it doesn't stick. You can't just jump to the outcome. But some things that I have worked over the past 6 months to a year, and especially the past, I'd say something that I worked on over the past about 6 months, have been meditation strongly. And I know I talk about that a lot, but it used to be something that I made fun of. Like I was like, meditation does nothing. And it does. It helps so much. It's something that truly grounds me in a way that I never really expected to be grounded like before. Like I didn't know that I could go about my days the way that I do now. And it has to do with meditation. So meditation, and like I said, I swap it out with my phone. So I used to wake up, scroll my phone for an hour or two. I don't do that anymore. I most of the time don't do it. Sometimes I fall back into old habits, but like I was saying, I changed on my phone. You can do this on your settings if you have an Apple. I don't know about Samsung or Android, but on Apple you can go to like this focus in your settings, and you can put your phone and you can set it for a time limit of when you want it to like shut off, and unless there's like select apps that you can choose that you want to be on, otherwise they all have a limit. And then you click on it and you try to go on. You can go on it for like a minute, you can turn it off for the day, but it helps me a lot more reminding myself, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this. So when I have it on, like obviously I can easily click on the app and then be like, okay, turn off for today or turn off for 15 minutes. But I don't. I see that it's because it'll gray out your app, and I'm like, okay, well, I shouldn't be doing this. I need to be doing things that are going to make my day more productive. So that's when I go make a breakfast, or I'll do my meditation workout, things like that. So setting your day up for success starts in the morning, truly. And then breakfast and reading. Breakfast is such an important meal of the day. I still don't eat it every single day, but I know the days like this morning, I made myself some eggs and coffee, and then I'm sitting on like nothing, but usually coffee is my breakfast. And it sounds so bad, but I know there's a lot of people who just drink coffee in their morning or don't have anything at all, and it's so bad. It's so bad for you. Makes my day go so much better. So setting yourself up for success in that way. Eat your breakfast, read a book. So when I'm eating my breakfast, instead of watching a show, I'll just read my book while I'm eating. And then, or if I do watch a show, I'll eat a book. Eat a book. Yep, I'll eat a book. There we go. I'll read my book after I'm done eating or whatever. But I do, if I am watching a show or something while I'm eating my breakfast, I turn the show off the second I'm done eating. And that's just something that I do because I'm like, well, I don't really want to sit here and watch it when I need to be getting ready for my day. So that's just something I naturally do. But turning off your screen when you're done helps so much. And also something like switching when you're doing something that you have to do, quote unquote, which again should be something you get to do something that you want to do. So something that you get to do, add something in that you want to do. So if you're going to, again, eat breakfast and that's something new for you that you struggle with trying to get into the routine of, tell yourself, okay, I can scroll on TikTok while I'm going to eat my breakfast. Or if you don't want to exercise or go on a walk or something, well, go on your walk, but you can do something productive like scrolling or something if you want to do something that you want to do with something that you get to do. And another thing I do, and this is, I plan my day every single night before, but then I'll look at it the next morning and be like, okay, how are we going to get this stuff done? When are we going to get this stuff done? Kind of plan it out more so. And I've been really working on my work-life balance and stop no more work after 6 p.m., which I've gotten so much better with as time has gone on. Just realizing that, okay, this is my time now. Like, I know I don't do this stuff during the day anymore. Like, I don't watch my shows, I don't scroll on TikTok, or I try my hardest not to. So now this is my time to do that after I'm off work. Finding that work-life balance has been very important to me within planning my day. So I try to plan everything within from like 9 to 6 p.m. And again, going on a morning walk, that's something that I personally enjoy. And if I'm going on my morning walk, I either don't listen to anything or I'll listen to a podcast just because I could be learning as I'm walking. But a lot of the times I just listen to like nature and stuff and enjoy the moment more so. But yeah, so your morning routine is a prime foundation of your day, and setting that in a very healthy way is going to set you up for success. And you have to have a lot of self-discipline because it's so easy to hit the snooze button. So instead of hitting the snooze button, remind yourself, no, I need to get up. Because I found out actually recently, when you hit your snooze button, the reason a lot of us like go into a deep sleep is because your sleep cycle, I think it's like 75 to 90 minutes. If I heard that right, I'm not sure. I always used to think it was 20 minutes. Not sure, but there's different parts of your sleep cycle where you're in a deep sleep and then when you're more awake. So that's why, like, personally, I hate taking naps, and that's because a lot of the times I'll set my time for 20 minutes, but then I end up sleeping for 2 hours, and then I'll wake up and I feel worse than I was before. And that's because I woke up in the middle of sleep, like in a deep sleep, and so it disrupts it and you feel more groggy. And so when you're hitting the snooze button, you're 9 minutes into your sleep cycle. You started it over, so you're in that deep sleep, and so it's so easy to just keep hitting the snooze, and that's why you kind of become more tired the more you hit the snooze button, is because you're starting over and you're only going 9 minutes into your sleep cycle. Yeah, when I have my alarm go up, and again, I have the Hatch thing, so like the light goes up, so I usually wake up a few minutes before my alarm because there's like a sunrise lighting thing that it does, which wakes me up, and then there's like chimes or something as my alarm. The part where self-discipline comes into play is staying on task. It is so easy, especially for when I am posting on social media. It's so easy for me to get sucked in to scrolling, and I can't tell you how many times I have scrolled, or I'll get on social media to post something and I'll see some of my favorite people have posted, so I'm like, ooh, what are you posting? And then I start scrolling, and then I'm like, okay, get back to work, and I'll exit out of social media, and I'm like, okay, what was I doing? Oh, I was posting. Duh, but I just wasted all this time when I meant to go post scrolling. So staying on task and remind yourself, okay, I'm gonna go onto Instagram and I'm gonna post the post for work and I'm done. That's it. And while it's posting, then I can scroll. So sometimes reels take longer, sometimes posting to stories takes longer. So during that time, I'll allow myself to scroll, but then I'm done. And that's just personal example. There's a lot of different things throughout your day. Again, just reminding yourself to get back on task if you see yourself drifting out of it, and what would that higher version of you be doing? Probably not scrolling. Finding your center again goes along with it. And we talked about that, finding some kind of meditation or breathing or some sort of thing that can help you find your center again. I have some just quick little 1 to 5 minute meditations that help me breathe and get back to work, to what I need to do when I become overwhelmed. And it's so important to have. Practicing some sort of finding your center, finding your ground, will help you stay on your desk. Number 3, budgeting. Now, this is something that self-discipline comes into huge play, and I've realized it a lot. I go through my phases of heavy spending and no spending at all, and then the in between. And I have found, I think a few years ago, and Sophie and I talked about this on our podcast episode if you want to go give that a listen, but there was a few years ago when she lived in Hawaii, and we were both very heavy spenders. We would go to like TJ Maxx, and she would go to Ross, and we would drop so much money on the dumbest things ever. And a lot of it, going through my closet, still has tags on it. And I since then have got rid of it because I'm like, I didn't want this. Like, why did I buy this? So buying quality items that you are actually wanting is so important. And so what I have found is when I'm doing my budgeting, A lot of the times I found when I first started budgeting, I'm like, oh, I don't need to spend this much on gas and this much on this and this much. Fun money, I'll give myself 50 bucks. No, I can allow myself a little more because knowing my habits and knowing the person I am, I know I'm not going to stick to that and it just goes out the window. So like gas, I'm like, no, you need $100 a month. Set it aside. There, that's a necessity. You need that. You're going to end up spending it anyway. I don't care what you put on the sheet. It's going to happen. You have to buy gas to get to work and everything. So that's like a necessity. But when it comes to like fun money and savings and stuff, I kind of just take out like whatever's left over and then I divide it. I have always a set percentage of what I put into my savings. If I want to invest in stocks, I actually use apps. I use Griffin, Acorn, and Robinhood for investing. They're super awesome. I won't go into super deep depths with them, but basically Acorn just rounds up your purchases and invests it into stocks, and Griffin will take $1 wherever you're spending. So for example, if you come to Rain Company and you spend $1, we don't have we're not in the stock market, but you'll get it'll take an extra $1 and it'll apply it to a fund, which then you can take that $1 and invest it wherever you want. But for example, if you go to McDonald's and you buy a Dr. Pepper, well, it's going to take another $1 out of your account and it's going to invest $1 into McDonald's stock. So it takes $1 wherever you spend it and invests it in that stock, which adds up a lot faster than you think, but it's also really good for you. So I do that, but then setting aside that fun money is also important, and having monthly check-ins. It's so easy to just create a budget and move on, but every month look back on like what you did spend and how you spent it and where you spent your money, and kind of like be honest with yourself. Like, how did you feel spending the money where you spent it? Do you wish you would have spent it other places? Do you wish you would have saved more? Like kind of taking a check-in of how you're doing and what you want to change in the upcoming months. It'll help you a lot more. Number 4, nighttime routine. This is the, like, self-discipline is so important when it comes to your nighttime routine. I personally think your morning routine is more important than this when it comes to self-discipline, because it's a lot easier to stay up later than it is to wake up earlier. But when it comes to your nighttime, like, what do you want to be doing to set yourself up to get a good night's sleep, to set yourself up for a successful morning where you can wake up easier? It's probably not staying up till 2, 3 a.m. And reading instead of scrolling on your phone right before you go to bed, or if you're going to watch a show, we'll have some non-screen time too, or making it like coloring, something interactive like that is really, really good for you. I have these fun coloring books I do. I also doodle. Like, I have, obviously, it's my job. It's part of my job is to doodle new designs. So I'll do that while I'm watching a show, but then I'll usually end up reading before I go to bed just because it helps, I guess, calm myself a little bit more. And if I need to, I'll meditate again. This is just an easy one to set yourself up for success the next day. If you need to meal prep, do whatever it is, again, to set yourself up for success, because that's the biggest thing. But having that self-discipline, instead of scrolling on your phone until you fall asleep, well, read a book or meal prep to set your morning up on the right way. And the last one, number 5, saying no instead of maybe. This, I guess it's kind of self-discipline. This is like a self-discipline, but more like a self-respect thing. How many, like, just think right now, how many times have somebody asked you to do something and you're like, oh, maybe, when you know you don't want to do it? Say no. Say no. Self-discipline is self-love and self-respect, and saying no to things you don't want to do is self-love and self-respect. Say no. Don't say, oh, maybe, and get their hopes up. No, because also that just makes you look like a flaky person. Like, oh, they always say maybe, but they never do it. Just say no. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. If you want to have a self-care night, have a self-care night. Or if you just simply just want to be at home and watch a show, watch a show. You don't have to do everything you don't want to do. But that's just something I want to throw in there. So that is everything I have for this episode. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do, remember to subscribe, follow on whatever platform you're listening to, leave a 5-star review, please, please, please. It helps a lot. And follow us over on the socials on Instagram and TikTok, and here on YouTube if you're listening on here, or if you're not, go ahead and follow, subscribe on YouTube. And this is your reminder to just do the dang thing, get out of your own way, and have a great day. Bye.